idea of where you like to spend your money and what is important to you when you are spending money. So, is it on date nights? Is it activities with your children? Do you like buying new clothes? Do you like hanging out with friends at coffee bars and things like that? A budget shouldn't, in my opinion, be totally restrictive, but if you know where you like to spend your money, you can then maybe look at spending less elsewhere so that you can spend guilt-free where you want to spend your money. Once you've gone through your spending for maybe 2-3 months, add it to a category. Is it a necessity? This can be your fixed expenses, your bills, your mortgage, any debts that you need to pay, animal care, nursery fees, etc. Anything that you have to spend to survive, so including your groceries, things like that. The next category is your wants. So that can be a cheeky takeaway. It can be buying your new clothes, holidays, new car, etc. Anything that you would like to have, but it's not a necessity, and you don't. You're not gonna be in a bad place if you don't pay it. And then the third one is any payments that you've made to your savings account, or any extra debt payments that you've made, and if you're really great, also any investment payments that you've made, they all go into the third category. So before we get into actually how to allocate for your budget, go through your spending and see if there are any areas that you particularly spend on. So for me, I like to go out and buy coffee. I'm a millennial, it's what we do apparently. So that's somewhere that I know I spend a lot of money on, and it's something I like to do. So once you've done that, have a look to see if where you are spending money matches any financial goals that you might have. Side note, if you haven't got any financial goals, you probably should be setting some. And if you need help on how to set smart financial goals, I do have a video on that if you want to check that out. But ideally, your spending and your goals should align. So if one of my goals is to save an extra £1,000 this year, but I am massively overspending on new clothes, going out a lot, holidays, etc., it's not really reflective of my financial goals. So that either means that my goals aren't really that important to me, or I need to reflect on what I am actually spending and why I'm spending it there. So have a look to see if there's anything that matches. So once you've gone through your spending for 2 to 3 months maybe, you should now have everything in 3 categories. Why have we got it in 3 categories? Well, the 50, 30, 20 method suggests that 50% of your take-home pay should be allocated to your fixed expenses. So everything in the fixed expense, the necessities column, will go in your 50%. You then have the 30%. This is for your wants. This is the nice to haves. This is things that you value spending money on. That isn't a necessity, but it brings you joy. It brings you happiness to do these things. And then the 20% said, if you're really great, there might be some investments in there too, as well as savings. There are people saying that the 50-30-20 method is outdated now. We all know that the cost of living is going up. It's very hard to get by these days, doesn't matter how much you earn, etc. Life can be getting tough for a lot of people. And some people are saying that the 50-30-20 isn't reflective of that. Rent is incredibly high. Mortgages, although they're coming down, they are still incredibly high. So if your numbers don't necessarily fit this model, you can change it. There are also other factors to consider, such as where you live can massively impact how much you spend on accommodation. That's just a fact in the UK. If you have children, if you have dependents, that can impact your spend. And also, crazy one, your actual income will impact how these percentages fall, because if you have a higher take-home pay, your necessities might actually be a smaller percentage of your overall totals. But equally, the opposite is true. So if you have a lower pay, then your basic necessities will be more of the percentages, just naturally. And that's fine. So just readjust your numbers. This is only a guide. It is not setting in stone. It is not, has to be exactly 50%. Okay? So for example, if your take-home pay is £2,000, to fit this model, you would have £1,000 allocated to your fixed expenses, your necessities. You would then have £600 per month for your wants. And so, cinema trips, takeaways, nights out, etc. would be in this £600. And then you would have a £400 that you will allocate either to savings, investments, or debt over payments, depending on your personal situation. However, if that doesn't feel realistic, like I said, you can change the percentages, you can tweak them slightly. So let's say you wanted to do 70% is your necessities. It's fine. And then you have 15% and 15% for your wants and your savings. So that would be £1,400 on necessities, £300 then on both your savings and your wants. For me, this budgeting method has two purposes. The first one is to identify where you are maybe overspending a little bit. You maybe know that you are, but you don't want to realize it, or you don't want to own up to it. This will bring it out to the forefront. Like I say, mine's coffee. But the second important thing is it builds into your budget guilt-free fun money and guilt-free saving. To have a healthy relationship with money, you need to let go of a restrictive mindset that is never going to bring you a good relationship with your money. So yeah, you need to allow yourself to spend on yourself on fun things without it feeling guilty. That's when you lead to splurge spending, and that is never a good thing. So I actually applied the 50-30-20 method to my previous month's spending. So for July, now July was quite a heavy month for me. We had a few weekends away. I got my little tattoo, and yeah, I spent a lot. And when I've had a look through, I roughly overspent by like £200 on my wants. So savings and debt repayments. Now, you are going to go and find out from your personal take-home pay what your percentages are. So whether it's 70, 30, 20, 70, 15, 15, etc., have a look and figure that out. And then for each month, add up what each column comes to and see if it fits within the ranges that you've set for yourself. Like I said, if your fixed costs are above 50%, that's absolutely fine. There is absolutely no shame in that in this channel. You know, it is what it is. I would suggest seeing if you can lower them somehow, whether that's negotiating down some of your payments, you know, see if you can get a deal on your broadband, etc. But, you know, I'm not here to tell you to cancel your Sky subscription or to get rid of Netflix. We need to have a bit of joy in life, and I have Sky, I have Netflix, I have Disney. You know, they're things I enjoy, and I'm paying for them, and I'm classing them as a necessity. So, this method of budgeting is popular because hopefully you can see how easy it is, and there's not a lot of time commitment in doing this. And you know, each month you can look through your fixed spends. Probably shouldn't change that much, so that once it's set, you know, you should start figuring out how much savings, etc. that you need, so that probably shouldn't change either. So it'll be your wants category that probably changes month on month, but once you start implementing it, you'll be able to see where you are spending and have a good idea. And like I say, this is a really high level budgeting method. Once you've mastered this, if you want to have a deeper understanding of where you're spending your money, you can then, you know, break those categories down even further. So how much are you spending on takeaways? How much are you spending on coffee? And you can then have a look at your wants maybe a bit more and figure out where you are spending more and where you'd like to spend less. But that can be quite time consuming, and especially in the beginning it might put you off doing it, so I would